Following on from the other video where Jen fit the laminate floor in 33 minutes, was it, Jen?
32.
32 or something like that. She keeps telling me how many minutes. What we're going to do now, we're going to get the skirting boards down. So there's 3 big walls to do, there's the reveals to do, there's a window board going on there, there's window reveals to do, there's architraves around there, there's door reveals to do, and there's architrave around there as well. That will complete the joinery inside this room. Just on another point, I know a lot of you have been asking about YouTube videos. I didn't continue with this one for the simple reason why we're now a full team down and we're on the back foot and we're just trying to catch up a little bit, so I haven't really had time to do videos as such, but they will resume very shortly. So what Jen's going to do now, she's going to crack on with this skirting board. I'm going to video the vast majority of it and Jen's going to do the cutting and she's going to guide you through it, and I'm going to narrate it as well for you. Okay, so right, so what we use on these builds, we use a pencil round MDF skirting board. It's already pre-primed. That will be the architrave there. The big one there will rip it down for the door reveals. That'll be the skirting board as well. So we've cut these to length just to get them in the van basically. But we know this is a small room. That back wall there, it's a 3x3, so we know that back wall's probably about 3-1, something like that. Right, so what Jen's going to do now, she's going to square off one end, because obviously I've cut it with hand, so we want to make sure we've got square ends. She's already pre-measured the back of the room. What you need to do is start off with one wall. You're looking for less cuts basically, so if we put this wall in there, we can put square cuts on each end. Just stick that bit of skirting board on, and then all we need to do is an internal scribe there on that one, a square end on that one, an internal scribe on that one, and a square end on that one. Like I say, she's already measured the wall. It's MDF, it's going to get corked up. It's not looking for a mega tight fit. If you do mega tight, what'll happen then, sometimes you'll compress it in and it'll push the plasterwork and it'll create a little crack, which is not what we want. So she's going to use this PAS load. It's an IM50. It's 18 gauge. We use 18 gauge for the simple reason is it provides a smaller entry hole, which allows for better drilling, and it's better on the cedar as well. So she's dropped that piece in there now. What she's going to do is get some of this water-based grip fill or what's it called? No nails. So what she's going to do is she's going to get some of this water-based no nails, which we use. Fire that up into the cork gun. I did see on the DIY page that somebody didn't know how to open the end of that. Literally cut it off with a knife. She's not corking, so what she's going to do, she's going to cut a decent size opening on there as well. So what she'll do now, she'll cut the end of the nozzle off as well.
In a minute.
She's going to cut a decent sized hole on it, simply because she's not. Yeah, she wants more to come out. So what she'll do now, she'll roll that over, put plenty of adhesive on it. I mean, it's a never build adhesive. It's water based. It's about £1.20 a tube or something like that from Tool Station. Does the great job. If you ever make a balls up and you come and take a skirting board off at a later date, you'll see it'll pull the plaster off the wall. So what she needs to do as well, because we've got a laminate floor and an underlay, I don't know if you can see that there. You can just see the floor moving down. So when she nails it, she'll put pressure on the skirting board, which will put pressure on the floor as well. So what she's going to do, she's going to double nail it. About every 400, which is what we're looking for. You can see her putting weight on the skirting board there to push it down to the floor. So she'll carry on, that'll be the back wall, and then I'll explain what she's going to do on one of these reveals, depending on which one she goes. She's a left footer again, so I'd imagine she's going to go left side first, but we'll see. So what she's going to do, she's going to do this wall now. She knows there's a mitre on that side, so she's going to put an internal scribe on there. What she'll do, she'll pick up a piece of this skirting board, which she's already done. We know it's too long, so she's just going to put the, she's going to cut a mitre on the end so she can scribe it, and then she'll jump back in, she'll measure it, and then she'll cut off her scribe to give her that length. Okay, so she's going to cut 45 on that now, which she has done. What she'll do now, she's going to put this over there and she's going to scribe the end of it. I'll show you what she's going to do. She's going to use a coping saw. So what she'll do, she'll take off all of this brown. Let me just get a pencil and I'll show you. What she'll do, she'll start there and then she'll take off all the brown. Right, so you can see what she's back cutting a little bit as well. She's going to take all the brown out.
Hold on. It's quite hard because this blade's not the best.
So what we've done, we bought a brand new coping saw, but Jen says the blade's not the best, so we'll go with whatever she says. That's it. See, what you want is fast little movements, which she's got there. Look. It's quite a talent to be able to cut these.
And it helps if they're in a bit
If bouncing around.
about. Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That's the problem with MDF skirting, it just bounces around like hell. We did actually use an angle grinder, or a jigsaw, which was loads better. I think even the chainsaw was better, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's have a look what she's done here then.
Sanding discount grinder.
Yeah, sanding discount grinder was best, wasn't it? You like that one best?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Right, so she's took all the brown off. What'll happen now is, I'll just show you, get a little piece of skirting board. That will go on there like that. And that will then create your internal stripe. So what she's going to do now, she's going to go back in the room, she's going to measure it. So what she's doing, she's measured tight to that skirting board, which she will then measure off the internal scribe. She doesn't need to get 100% tight on that wall because, like I said before, it's corked and it's going to be fine. We don't want it too tight, just like she's done there. And the other bit of skirting board will go in there, that'll get corked up and that'll be absolutely fine. So what she's done, she has now measured off. She's hanging off the internal part of the scribe there. She's measured the length of it and she'll cut that and then that should go in lovely. I'll just show you a little detail while she's cutting that. When a wall gets plastered, generally the plasterer will plaster down like that and there's always like a little bulge of plaster at the bottom which sometimes kick the skirting board out. So depending, that one doesn't actually look too bad, but sometimes your skirting board will be kicked out, which means you're going to have to put a plane on the scribe to get it to go in nice. But we'll see what happens when she drops this in now. So what will happen now, you can see there, it's just fractionally pushing it out now. That will cork up, but I'm just going to show you how, a pencil please Jen. I'm just going to show you how, don't put it in your mouth, can lose teeth. I'm just going to show you how to get that a tighter fit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scribe up there like that. You can see, if Jen just pulls that back a little touch now. More. There you go. You can see the pencil line I've drawn there. So what she'll do, she'll take that off with the block plane because that skirting board there is not sat completely straight. It's pushed out with the plaster. So when she takes that bit off there, that'll sit tight and lovely. Right, so what she's going to do is she's going to do a little block plane. And she's just going to take that little bit off there. Because she's back cut it, she's literally taking off a couple of mil, whereas if you hadn't back cut it, then you'd have to take off the full depth of the skirting board. But as you can see there, so I just took off a little bit. Tracer pencils, about 15 quid from Toolstation. I've fought it for a while, but I've accepted the goods now. So what she's going to do now, she'll put that in. There you go, look, so she took that off. Absolutely airtight gap on that, so that's brilliant. What she'll do now, she'll cork that up and get it pinned, because I know she's happy with that. She's a little smile on her face. Right, so again, plenty of no-nails or grip fill or whatever you use. We tend to use the water-based because I just find the solvent-based, it forms a skin on it straight away before you even put it to the wall. And this water-based stuff's absolutely spot on for the price you're paying. So she'll push that tight to that end. There you go. And what she's going to do, she's going to start nailing it from that end. Because obviously that's the joint we want the best, because that one over there will have the internal scribe on as well. So she'll double nail that every 400, pushing it down onto the floor to keep it compressed. What's going to happen now is she can't do these bits because she's got to do the reveals first and then put the architraves on, which then will give her the length of skirting board she needs there. So if Jen gets a square, I'll show you how we're going to do these reveals. Now, there's two ways of doing the reveals. You can plaster them, which means your doors have to go in before you're plastered. But we don't do that because it's a bit of a time thing. So what we're going to use MDF reveals. What Jen's going to do now, she's going to set that square, lock it off like she has done there, and she's just going to check that all round now and make sure that we're parallel all the way around, which if the doors have been fit correctly, we will be. Yeah? Yeah, so we know that's good, and that's his measurement there. So let's have a look at that, Jen. So that depth there, which is 61 mil approximately, is the depth of our reveal. Yeah? Yeah. So she's measured it, she's got her depth there, which she's set on a square. So this is the stuff we're going to use. We've bought this oversized 5-inch pencil round skirting. The reason why I'm going to use that is because it's pre-primed. That side there, that's where your architrave will sit on. That's pre-primed as well. What we're going to do, we're going to cut that off there to the depth we need. So when that's fixed, that's primed, and it'll provide a nice finish. So what she's going to do now, she's just going to put a little mark on there, and then she's going to set the circular saw to that width. Right, what Jen's going to use to rip down this skirting board and create a door reveal is this Makita circular saw. She's set the depth there. You'll pull that trigger. She's set the depth of that. That's the depth of the reveal. She's also set the depth of the blade to cut through the skirting board. So what she'll do now, she'll rip down this skirting board.
If Liam keeps hold of the board.
What she's going to do then, she's going to cut a square end on, because we want to make sure when it sits on the floor it's nice and square. So she knows her measurement. She's now going to cut it to length. She's going to do, she's going to offer this piece in and make sure she's happy with it first. Like I said before, because it's primed, we're looking for a white side there and a white side there. So when the architrave goes on there, we've got primed, and that'll provide a neat finish. Right, what she's done, she's kept it short at top for the simple reason, because we're going to put another piece in up there, so that's fine. But when this is actually fit, it'll need pushing down to the floor. You can also see there's a little ridge on the sill there, which she will mark and cut out, which will then enable that to go back completely tight to the door frame. Again, she'll take that out with the coping saw because it's such a little bit. So that's the little piece there that she's going to cut out. It's just the back of the sill that protrudes, but obviously we want this to go tight to the door frame. When the door frame's been fit, obviously we use packers to fit it. We leave a 20mm clearance on our doors. So obviously these packers have now made that door frame dead straight. The packers also will allow the reveal to sit off nice and straight, and it wants to be parallel with the window or the door, whichever it is you're fitting. You can use any kind of profile on it as a reference point, but when that goes on there, it needs to be parallel to the window, otherwise it'll look a dog. So what she'll do, she'll offer this back up once she's cut this out now. Right, so she's cut the little bit out that stops the reveal going back because of the little kick on the sill that you've got there. You can see that she's cut that out. That's lovely now. It sits back tight. What she's going to do now, she's going to push it down to the floor so you've got a nice finish there and all. Are you happy with that, Jen?
Yes.
Right, so what we're going to do now, if Jen can just step to the side but still hold it in, you can see what I'm talking about there. We're going to use that as the reference point, the profile there, and we want that gap there to be nice and parallel, which it will be because this architrave is now sat on, not architrave, this reveal is now sat on the packers. So what she'll do now, she'll pin this, and what she's going to do, she's going to pin it above that packer and below that packer. The same on them packers as well, and then we know that that is right. And then what she's going to do then, she's going to just put some new little packers in there and pin it, because what we want that to sit straight rather than like that or like that. So what she'll do, she'll pin either side at packer, which we can see, and then she'll cut some other packers to drop in there and pin it again, and that's a nice secure fit. Right, so she's done both reveals. She's done the left reveal, the right reveal. She's already pre-cut the head, so the head can go in now. Exactly the same scenario again. It'll sit on the packers and she'll screw to the timber up there. Not screw, she'll nail to the timber up there. So she's got her door reveals on. Primed MDF, primed, so that'll paint up nice. They just need filling. She's got a head in, she's got a leg in. So what's next now is your architraves, your head architrave, your lower leg, and then she can do them bits of skirting board. And then that is the doors and the skirting board finished. Then we'll jump on the window and we'll show you how to do the window board as well.
I'm just measuring up for my architrave. Right, so I'm gonna give myself a lot more than what I need. So I'm just gonna cut it at 2050 there.
Right, so she's gonna fly it over than what she needs, and I'll show you this is the quickest way to cut and fit architraves. So she knows both legs are 2050. Jen, your head.
Yes. Awesome.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fly that over more than what I need. She's going to fly it over more than what she needs there as well.
I'm going to cut this one at 2,800. Right,
so she's got a head at 2,800. She's got two legs at 2,050, which she's now going to cut. What she's going to do, she's going to cut a square end on both of these legs on this architrave. She's then going to cut them at 2,050. She's now got a square end to measure off there, so she'll measure that. She'll cut it at 2050.
250.
Right. So that's one leg. She's now cut the second leg. What we're trying to do is minimise walking backwards and forwards to the saw, so she's going to cut these all. It's the one on the left, Jen.
This one?
Yeah. I mean, obviously if you're doing this at home, you're not... time is money, so obviously we'll try to minimise trips back to the store, doing as little cuts as possible, but if you're doing it at home, obviously you can take a bit more care and a bit more... well, not care, but a bit more time, I guess. Regardless of which way you do it, you'll still get the same finish on it, so care is probably the wrong word to use. So there now, she's got two legs. She'll now cut her head at, was it 2,800, Jen?
100.
But what I'm going to do now, when Jen cuts, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to show Jen a different way to do this.
Do I not need to square the end?
Just come in here and I'll show you. Right, offer that architrave up into the place that you want it. Right, now just put a mark on the left-hand side. Right, so she's created a quirk there. Now, the reason that's your quirk there, that little gap, but because the MDF is only 18mm and we want to pin through there, so what we're going to do, we're going to make our quirk quite small like that. So when we pin through there, it goes into the reveal, and we'll also pin through there, which will tie it into the wall. So what she's going to do, she's going to put a mark on the left-hand side there. She's going to do exactly the same on the other side. She'll create her quirk. Yeah, I mean she's just guessing the quirk at the moment, and I'll tell you why it's not that she's just guessing it in a minute. So she'll put a mark now on the right hand side. What she'll do now, she'll pass me her tape measure. Right? I will hold this tape measure just past there, just past that mark. Jen's going to go past her mark by 50mm, and then she's going to take another measurement now, aren't you, Jen? Yep. 50mm past your mark. Jen often gets stuff in her eyes.
2,740.
Right, so what she's going to do, she's got a measurement of 2,740. So she's going to go get that bit of architrave on the floor. She's going to put a mitre on this end, because we know that's good. So what's your measurement, Jen?
2,740.
Right, so what she'll do now, she'll put that one there on the saw. This end here is that end up there, so she's going to cut a mitre on that first, aren't you, Jen?
Yes.
On this end, so she's going to slide it to her right. Yeah. She's cut 45 degrees, because obviously 45 degrees is what you want to create the 90-degree angle. 245 is 90-degree, obviously. She's going to cut that on there. What she's going to do now, she's going to now measure off this end. She'll measure off that end, and she'll put...
Off of which part are we measuring?
She's measuring it off the furthest part, because that's where I measured to. She's now going to transfer her mark that she called out. Yeah. She's now going to put a square end on that. So what she's got now, she's got two legs and a head, so she'll just put the head on the floor there. What she'll do now, she'll now put her left leg into position, she'll create her quirk line, and I'll just show you the quickest way to create that quirk line. Jen, can I just jump in there, please? Pop it to the side. So if you get your pencil and you just finger scribe it down, that's the size of the quirk we want there. It's going to be the same on the top there as well. So when she offers her architrave up, that there is the point where that 45 is going to go. She's doing the same on the other side as well now.
Does it go all the way down to
No, I just pop it on top, Jen, and on Ed as well. There, so that's the quirk she's created. Like I say, it's a little quirk because we want to fix this architrave to the reveal. So she's going to offer this left leg up now. She's going to mark where her mitre wants to start. She's pushing it down to the floor as well to make sure it's sat tight on the floor, right? Yeah. Right, what she's just done then, I have no idea. Right, so what she needs to do let's start again. So she's now going to offer the architrave up to the place. She's pushing it tight to the floor to make sure it's good on the laminate, which we want. She's now going to mark where her mitre wants to go. And she's also going to draw on the face of the mitre so she doesn't bolt it up and she knows which way it wants to go. So that's her left leg. What she'll do now, she'll do the same with her right leg. She'll push it down to the floor. Make sure it's nice and tight. She'll hold it up there to her quirk. She'll now mark her architrave mitre height, and then she'll mark on the face which way it wants to go. Right, so now what Jen can do, she can now take both of these over to the saw and cut them both and then come back. So she saved one journey there by doing them both at the same time. So she's now going to cut the mitre on the architrave. We'll do the same with the second architrave as well. Just put that in there for her. So that's her two legs cut. What she'll do now, she will now fix her left leg on into position. She's obviously going to use password to fix this as well. What we're aiming for is to pin through just before the start of the pencil round, and then that pin will go through that reveal, which will tie that into there. No. You're shooing at an angle, you need to go straight, because I want to go straight into there, Jen.
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe slightly to your left. You see, you see, just on the curve.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want it on that left hand side of the line? Yeah.
Just on the line. What she's done, she's pinned that down now to the side of that reveal. Now, there's still a bit of movement in that, and I'll explain why she's not pinned it to the back wall just yet. But she will do that, and I'll explain that why. Right, so she's already cut the mitre on her head. So what she's going to do now, she's going to offer up this, because it's a big span. I will just hold this end there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold the 45 where it needs to go. She is now going to mark it over there because she knows where her quirk is, and she'll also transfer her mark to create the angle on the top, because we don't want to mess it up, do we, Jen?
We don't.
It's easily done. So what she'll do now, she'll go put that on the saw, she'll cut that mitre, and that means then she's got that one. She's then now cut the head on both legs, and that means she's cut that one, it's fixed. She's now cut the head, she's cutting the mitre on both sides.
Why do we not put both legs in first, Liam?
Because if you put both legs in first, Jen, if you ask me a question, right, I'll tell you the answer, but you need to listen to the answer.
Sorry.
Right. The reason why we don't put both legs in first is so that we can offer the head up and we can accurately mark the right-hand side of the mitre. Okay, Jen?
Yes,
Right, okay, so she's got the left leg, she's got the right leg, she's now cutting the head. What we're going to do now, we're going to magic mitre or mitre-mate or whatever it is you want to call it, the architrave or the architrave. She's doing now, she's using, it's an Evo stick mitre-mate, there you go, Evo stick mitre-mate, magic mitre, whatever you want to call it. So one side takes the super glue, and the other side takes the activator, which then will make it bond once it sticks. So she's now going to spray the activator on the left hand side. Right, because it's longer, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the weight of this side of the, excuse the camera work, I'm on my phone. She's now going to get her mitre, what she'll do is get her mitre in place. She'll spray the activator on it. Hold it a few seconds, decide if she's happy. And if it's not a perfect mitre, I'll explain what we're going to do about that as well.
Right, so I'm just going to put a few pins in here so when we move it across, don't break the mitre that we've just done.
Right, so yeah, so what she's done, she's put a few pins in close succession at that end to keep that mitre into position. Now, what will happen now is she's just going to pin it to halfway, and I'll explain why she's going to pin it halfway along now as well. Right, so she's only pinned it to halfway. The reason why she's pinned it halfway is because, tell us why, Jen.
So then when I put this leg in, I can get my my joint nice and neat.
Right, so the reason why she's done it, as she's just said, is when she gets her right leg in, she's trying to achieve a good mitre here. Now, if we fully fix that, we can't move that. But there you can see she's got the perfect mitre on there. So she'll decide she's happy with that. What she'll do now, she'll put a couple of pins in there to hold that leg, but she won't fix the rest of the leg. Then she'll pull that up. That will obviously be fixed. she'll pull that up, she'll get some magic miter and some activator in, she'll drop it back into position, that will be fixed, it won't keep moving like it just does every time I let go of it, she moves it. And then she'll get her miter right, which will then be perfect like that, won't it, Jen? And then she'll go along there and she'll finish pinning that. She'll finish pinning that leg, and then she'll jump back over here and she'll pin the back side of this one, and I'll explain why we've done that in a minute.
Yeah.
So she's fixed that right leg, she's got some magic miter in, or miter mate, or bloody whatever you want to call it. She's now going to push it down, she'll spray magic miter on the face of it as well to close that, to get that glue off. She'll hold it for a few seconds, and what she'll do now, she will also pin her head architrave to hold it down into place. She'll pin it through into the reveal like that. There you go. And what she'll do now, she'll have a look at her miter, decide if it's good enough. Is it good enough, Jen?
Yeah.
Right, so she'll go along now, she'll finish pinning that, she'll put pins in the top as well, because then the pins in the top will fix to the timber in the head and into the wall as well when she walks down, when she moves down the architraves. Okay. So what she's going to do, instead of walking backwards and forwards, which is just wasting time, when she pins there, she will then pin above it like that. And then she's not walking backwards and forwards. Yeah? Right, she's gone crazy now, and I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Well, she'll regret it when she's filling them. Right, so, with that in mind now, what she's going to do, she's going to go over here. Now, unfortunately, we can't get the gun in to pin that, but we would normally pin through there, which would secure that to that, but you can't. So what she's going to do, she's going to face fix it through there and there, because we know there's timber running across there, we know there's timber running down. So she'll face fix that and face fix that there. And then she'll walk down, she'll move down her leg, pinning her quirk and pinning her back wall as well, because we know there's timber in there. That will fully secure everything. So she's going to check her quirk as she's moving down. Right, Jen?
Yep.
There's a lot of flex in MDF architrave. What she's going to do, she's going to keep her gun straight, because we're trying to pin into that reveal, aren't we? Yeah? But like I said, instead of moving up and down, she's going to nail the back as well.
It's quite hard to record it.
So what? I'm recording you?
Yeah.
Right, so there you go. What she's done now, she's created her reveal, she's done her architraves. She's obviously pinned that to death there, but like I said, she'll regret that when she's filling it. Right, Jem?
I will.
And then she'll learn a lesson there, and that's the only way we learn by
just told me to double pin it though.
Yeah, but I said double pin it, I said don't kill it. Jen's left-handed. If you're unfortunate enough to be left-handed, then you'll know that some things are a struggle, aren't they, Jen?
Yes, they are, yeah.
Because not everything comes left-handed. Right, what she's going to do though, she's not going to forget that she needs to pin this leg either, are you, Jen?
No, I'm not going to forget.
Yeah, she just put the gun down because it was hurting her little hand.
No, I'm not doing it.
Try again. Sometimes it misfires, doesn't it? Yeah. Are we good for nails? Is that the gun that stops when it's run out of nails? Right, so what she's got left to do now, she's got a little skirting board reveal over there, which she's already started mitering there, she's already cut one off. There you go. What she'll do now, she's already mitered that, she's gonna cut that with the coping saw, aren't you, Jen? What Jen doesn't know is that I've changed the blade round because I'm right-handed. She's just realised now. So,
can you just turn it for a
of course, can you? Just hold that. So a lot of tools are generally right-handed. The coping saw can be flipped left to right, which is handy. There we go, so that's tight, it's ready to go. Right, what she's going to do now, she's going to back cut it. And to back cut it, if you can see the angle of the blade there to exaggerate it, she's going to cut it like that. So only that point there will be touching the skirting board.
Oh, shit.
I'm just going to So you can see the technique she's using there, which is absolutely spot on for using a coping saw. Quick, shorter movements, not too much pressure on the blade because it will snap. speed, then you find the cuts a lot easier. You get a nice straighter cut, you can manoeuvre the saw blade a lot better. So as she starts to get to the curve there, she's going to keep back cutting, but she knows at some point she needs to come out the face, which I'm going to try and show you what she's going to do now. MDF often does break because it's built up of layers, but if it does, it's fine because we're going to talk it out with you. So now she's going to start to come out the face. And I'll just stop there. Oh, just stop there. If she comes along there, she'll be left with a little scabby bit of paper, which will sit on top of other skateboard and look terrible. So she's coming out there. Look, you can see where she's coming out. Right. So what she'll do now, she'll bring that double-ended in. Oh, again.
Yeah.
So she's now left with a double-ender. She'll offer the left-hand side up now. And what she's going to do now, she's going to realise there's a little stone under that holding it off, which she has done. She'll now offer it back into place, and you can see now there's a little gap. What do you want to do, Jen? Do you want to scribe that?
I do, yeah.
Right, so what she'll do, she'll pull her skirting board so it's sat square, because obviously it's sat off there. She's now going to mark that there. And she knows that's it. She knows when she takes that bit off, that will push back nice and tight. She'll do the same with the right-hand side while she's here, because she's created a double-ended there. There you go. She's just planing it off there. It's just taking out the pencil line. We know that'll go back lovely now. So what she's going to do before she walks back into the room, she's going to get the...
take that little bit off there.
So, we'll explain why. Let me just get this little bit and I'll show you. So, if you look at that there, point to it, Jen. She's not took enough off the back there, which is now, let me see, look, which is stopping that going up there. Look, it's just catching on that. So what she needs to do is back cut that more, just to take that, sorry. What she needs to do is back cut that more to take that brown out there. Short, fast movements, that's what you need. You want to try and cut. You want to try and cut as close to the white as possible and take out all the brown. So I've got some exciting news anyway. Jen has come to us from a background of converting vans into catering vans, Jen?
Yeah.
Catering vans. So what we're going to do, we've got a long wheelbase crafter that we've had a few issues with, which have now been sorted mechanically. We're happy with that, but because it's been off the road so long, we've decided that it's a big van and we don't need it, so Jen is going to convert it into a camper van. Aren't you, Jen?
I am, yeah.
Which we're going to document as well, so that'll be another channel we're going to start. So what she's doing there, she's just back cutting her thumb.
No, I'm just keeping my finger in there because it's really thin. Yeah.
So what she's going to do, she's actually just using her finger just to create a bit of pressure on the top of that, and then she'll offer this piece up, which will save her a journey back in there. And let's see. And let's see if she's got it good.
It's better, but it's not 100% yet.
So she's going to offer that up now and see what that's like, which is perfect. So what she'll do now, she'll bring it back in here. She knows her left-hand side is good. She's already scribed that. She might have to do the same with the right. She'll offer her left-hand side back up now, and she'll mark it for length. So there you go. So that's a loads better joint now. It's perfect. She's now going to mark it for length against the architrave there. So she knows that's good. That's fine. Jump onto the right-hand side. Let's have a look, see if it's the same. Again, it's the same things happened. It's due to the plasterwork. Nothing wrong with the plasterwork. It's just generally when you find plasterwork, there's always a ridge at the bottom. So what she'll do, she'll mark that. And
it needs backing out a bit more.
No, it's fine, Jen.
Really?
Yeah, it's just pushing up bottom. Let's see it. So she'll scribe that now again. No.
Oh, you're sorry.
Yeah. There you go, so she's marked that. She'll take that off with the plane now. She knows she can cut her left-hand side because her left-hand side was good. So she's got both bits, she's cut them, she's happy with them, she's now going to glue them and pin them. Right there is your full skirting board, your full door reveals and your full architraves around your doors. What's left to do is just the window. We're going to have a window board on, same scenario, reveals, architrave, and I'll show you how we're going to do that now as well. Right. Architrave and reveals, they're all 18mm thick, so I'm going to show you how we will determine the length of our window board. I don't know if I just told you that. We're going to use a window board. Obviously it's too wide, we're going to rip it down, but I'm going to show you what I want. I want our window board I want this architrave to finish like that, and then I want 25mm of window board, which I will then round off, which will provide a nice detail. So, how I'm going to do that, I'm going to pretend that's a reveal. I've drawn my line there for the edge of my reveal. It's not 100% accurate, it doesn't need to be. I've created my quirk there. That's where my architrave will sit on my reveal. I'm then going to draw that line there like that. That there then is where my architrave will finish, and I want that distance there to be 25mm. So I've done exactly the same over this side. I've offered that reveal up, I put it there like that, I put a pretend architrave on there like that, and I've marked that like that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hold my tape on the edge of the architrave, as it were. I'm going to measure over there, and I've got 1290. So the maths is 1290 to the outside of the architrave to the outside of the architrave. But what I want 25mm bull nose on each side. So I'm going to add another 50mm on there, which will give me 1340, which I've already pre-cut this window board at 1340. Right, the next thing I need to do now before I do that is determine the depth of the sill. Obviously that's ridiculous and that ain't happening. So what I want to do is, I want my architrave to sit like that. I don't want it to sit there, because when it paints, if you're slightly over it looks crap. So what I want to do is sit about 10mm back from the front of that bull nose. Can you see that alright, Jen?
Yeah.
Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark the back of the architrave like that. So if you can imagine, that's the wall there, that bit there. That's the back of the architrave. So now what I need to do is work out the distance from there to wherever this depth is going to be there. So what I'll do now, I'll go like that, and I'll go, right, 40mm. So with that in mind, I'll put 40mm on there. Look at that, stop me line back on. I'm good at that. Right, so that'll be the front. That there will be that bit there. That there will be that bit there, yeah? Alright, so that's my 40mm. So all this is waste. So I know now what I'm going to do now. I'm going to measure from the front of the bull nose to that. I've got 75, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it 80 just to give myself a little bit of extra depth on there. So, with that in mind now, I will then go out here. I'll get the circular saw. Jen will pour me out. I will then set this up at 80mm, which is where I'm going to rip it down to. Set the depth of the saw, because I know this is set. Oh, it's really set, yeah. Okay, that was deep, Jen. Right, so I've set that at 80mm. What I'm going to do now is make sure I don't cut through my DeWalt stand. There's two reasons why I don't want to cut through the stand. The saw's brand new, and the stand's not far off either. Right, circular saw. When you've stopped cutting, but you're going to carry on cutting, just reverse it a little bit. Just 5mm, because if you don't, then that blade's wanting to bite already, yeah? Just reverse it a little bit, and then off we go again. A circular saw, as far as I'm aware, and a table saw are the reason why most joiners cut their fingers off. Strangely enough, yeah, I believe Paul Daniels cut his finger off before he died. It didn't make him die, but he cut his finger off with a circular saw. Now that's magic, isn't it, Jen? Right. I'd love to be able to tell you what this is. I'd love to tell you why that's magic is funny. Anyway, right, so what I'm going to do, we know now that is our window board. So what I'm going to do, so I can work out where it's going to go, we wanted 25mm, didn't we, Jen?
Yes.
Past the architrave. That there is 25mm. So if Jen comes over here, I know that there is the outside of my architrave. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put that 25mm line on there, which will mean when my architrave sits on there, I'll have that much window board hanging over, which I can create a bull nose on there. It'll look lovely. So, what are you laughing at? A lot lovely, from Yorkshire, lad. Right, so I'm going to mark that for cutting out, yeah? I'm now going to go over this side and mark that there for cutting out as well. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put that window board in there like that. I'm pushing it tight to the back of that sill, and I'm going to mark that like that. So that there then, that will be the cutout, so that'll be gone. I'll do the same on this side there as well. So that'll be gone as well. So once I've cut them out, that window board should sit in. So what I'll do now, I'll just whip out here. I'll decide we haven't got a handsaw, have we, Jen?
Might be one in van.
Right, so there's one in van. I can't be asked to go get it. So what I'm going to try and do is cut it out with the chop saw. What I'm going to do now, because the blade is curved, I'm going to rotate the sill. Which will allow me to back cut it. I'll do the same on this one as well. Right. What I'm going to do now is don't try this at home. But what you need to do is walk to the van and get your handsaw out. So I'm just left with them little crappy bits on there now. What I'll do now is just cut that out. Now, I'm not bothered that I've overcut that because the reveal is going to cover that. So cut them out now. What will happen now, I'm going to drop this in and see if it'll fit and work. Which it does. There's a little bit of play in there, that's fine. What I will do now, I'm just going to run the block plate on the back of there, and I'll tell you why. Because that's been through the saw, it's got a crappy cut on it. That will paint up a lot better now. What I'm going to do now as well, I know my architrave finishes there on that line, which it does, finishes there on that line. So what I'm going to do now, Jen follows me out, I'm just going to create the bull nose on this. See the bull nose there, Jen?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do now is adjust that blade because it's rubbish. Roll it over. I'm going to take the bulk out like that. Do the same on the other side as well. Now that looks rough and I can tell by Jen's face that she's not happy with the finish I've just created on there, but obviously it's not finished yet. So I'm going to then get my sander, which I had to hand. It's got 120 in it. Has it got 120 in it, Jen? Yes, yeah. Do you remember?
No, oh yeah, 125.
120. Created a bull nose on there which is sanded and it's nice. I'm now going to get some grit fill and bang that on there like that. Get my pads load, make sure we're loaded up right. We haven't got a lot of wood to fix into. Can you see there, Jen? I've got about 30mm of wood, then I've got my plasterboard. I'm now going to offer this into place. Push it down. Make sure we're happy with it. Even the gap. Right, can you see there, Jen? I'm tight.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, have a look down there. Look, I'm 10mm off there. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to even the gap. Yeah. I'm now going to fire close to that sill. I'm pushing the board back to the window. Right, so that's my sill in. If Jen has a look under here now, I'm just going to rub my finger along there and take off any adhesive that's seeped out, because it does do. Right, so that's your sill in. What we need to do now, I'm going to put you back over to Jen because she's going to do the reveals and the architraves. Right, Jen.
Yes.
So we put the windowsill on, we put the bullnose on there as well, we've done the reveals are on. Jen's now doing the architrave, exactly the same, architrave, exactly the same way as she did with the doors. She's cut her left leg, she's put a mitre on it. What she's going to do now, she's going to cut her head and cut it too long, but she'll put a mitre on that side so it's ready to go. She tells me she's cut her left leg as well. I hope she hasn't, because it's got a mitre on the wrong way.
I haven't.
That almost concludes this little video for today, but you can see now Jen's actually going around and filling the 65,000 holes that she pinned in. And there's her fingers, look. Yeah. Are you happy about all the pins you put in, Jen?
No.
No. Is it a mistake, Jen?
Yeah.
Do you think you might have learnt a lesson there, Jen?
Definitely.
Cool.